Yo, what is up guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Malt channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back yet again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys. And today I will be talking about a fall winter fragrance that I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are pretty interested about. This fragrance topped the recent poll that I did by a mile, by a long shot. And that's because this fragrance really is very intriguing. The name itself is very intriguing. So I'm sure a lot of y'all want to know what this fragrance is really about. So I'm gonna give it to you guys today. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, and watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel, guys. We are headed towards 18,000 subscribers. So all you gotta do, guys, is like and subscribe, and we'll support the channel in a very big way, and we'll keep these samples and decants pouring in so I can give you guys the complete lowdown on all these fragrances. And the fragrance that we will be talking about today is the latest fragrance coming out of Guerlain. It is from their Art and Matter collection, which is a little bit of a special collection. I'm gonna say it in French. I might get it wrong. I'm the worst at this. La et la matière, or Art and Matter. This is none other than Tobacco Honey. Yes, Tobacco Honey, guys. This is so intriguing. And the moment I caught wind of this, I really tried to find a decant as soon as possible. Now, this decant is from a friend of mine, a new friend of mine in the fragrance community, who is also a, you could say, a discounter, a dealer, or he's connected with some of these boutiques, and he does sell discounted fragrances, including this one right here. I want to thank Jisoo. Hopefully I said that correctly. I want to thank Ji for sending this in, guys, and I will link his Facebook below because he really does have a lot of discounted deals on all these latest fragrances, guys. So thanks, G. Now, this fragrance right here, Tobacco Honey, is definitely interesting because it's under the Guerlain house, and Guerlain does produce a lot of really great fragrances ever since back in the day, guys. And so what really interested me was the execution of this. What would it be like to combine tobacco and honey in such a very crowded house of fall winter fragrances? It seems like every house has a tobacco fragrance now, and they're throwing everything in the mix. And so it's kind of like sardines in there, guys, okay? So I was really interested on how they were gonna make an artistic rendition of tobacco and honey. And also this fragrance on paper, it says that it's for women. Okay, so is this just for women, or will this appeal to men as well? And if you've heard some rumblings about this fragrance, you'll also hear that this has some resemblance to Zoologist B. And Zoologist B is one of the earliest reviews I'd ever done. It is one of those full bottle fragrances that I actually finished for every single fall winter season ever since it released, guys. And so I was a big fan of B. I'm a fan of Guerlain, and I really wanted to know if this fragrance was just for women, or could I wear this as well? Of course, the price, not really cheap, $300 something. So let's see today if this fragrance is really truly worth it. Let's go spray this thing right now. Ooh. Okay, guys, now let's talk about the highly anticipated fall winter fragrance from Guerlain. This is none other than Tobacco Honey right here, guys. Now, right here in the opening, you got the opening notes of honey, anise, as well as clove. And let me tell you that from the get-go, what you are gonna get right here is a strong honey blend of all three notes, guys, together. And it will be a very impactful and strong intro right here. Now, honey, of course, is going to be the main star of the show, of this opening, and you will get to smell remnants of honey even in the end part, or the base notes part of this fragrance, guys. So for those that are really wondering how prominent the honey is right here, I'm gonna tell you guys ahead of time, it is gonna be pretty prominent. Now let's talk about that honey real quickly. The honey of this fragrance does resemble to a degree the same honey of Zoologist B. The honey right here in this fragrance is thick, it's dense, it is raw. It's like raw honey, guys. And it is gonna be slightly different from those that expect maybe a mainstream honey note, maybe a sweet candy-like nectarine honey. You're not gonna get that right here. The fragrance note of honey right here is dense, it is raw, it is thick, it is maybe even ambery. And this thick honey note has the combination of clove, which lends a spicy animalic mix, a spicy sweet animalic mix into this fragrance. And then you have the anise, which gives you a licorice type top note from all those thick notes of clove and honey, guys. So it's more of a blend of this raw honey with a little bit of spice and animalic and sweet, and then a licorice type top, guys. Okay, so that is the best way I could describe it. To me, this one is amazing. I mean, the first time I smelled this as a niche fan or a fan of unique blends, and I always look for one every fall winter season, it seems like companies just copy each other, guys. This one is really nice, and I haven't smelled anything like this since Zoologist B, so I'm gonna say that it's pretty unique. Also, on top of the fact that it is a unique honey blend, I like that I get the warming sensation as well, the warm and cozy sensation of wearing this fragrance almost immediately, guys. And of course, the first thing I thought about was fall winter season, snow, anything really, really cold. This fragrance, because it also has the spice of clove that you can say is kind of there with cinnamon, it will give you kind of like the Christmassy feel as well, you know, that warm, cozy, sweet, Christmassy feel with that thick honey. And then that licorice is just really up there to provide a zing to kind of like mood enhance you as well. So I really like this opening, guys. Okay, I'm into artistic fragrances, mind you. It won't be for the mainstream. I think that for the mainstream, it'll be kind of like a 50-50. Some people will like it, some won't. But if you are into the niche style, artistic style fragrances, and this is an artistic fragrance, guys, I think that you will be blown away by this warm and cozy honey blend intro. Now, let me just say that this intro is not just femme. It's pretty unisex, guys, okay? I mean, I loved it. Obviously, I'm a guy. So I think that it is a very, very unisex fragrance from the get-go, from the jump. So it's not femme at all because, like I said, you have these notes that really are very, very unisex. None of it are leaning too much on the femme side. And even the sweetness of this fragrance is pretty controlled. The honey has its own semi-sweetness. The clove has its own sweetness as well, but it's not overly sweet to where we can say, oh, it's sweet to more on the femme side. It's very, very unisex, guys. And especially as the mid progresses, this fragrance becomes a lot more unisex as well because you're gonna get the appearance of tobacco, guys. And tobacco does come in here as early as 20 minutes into the fragrance. It starts blending in with that honey blend, and it is that kind of blonde tobacco, dry tobacco mix. Not necessarily like the dry leaves smoky tobacco, but more of like the hay-like tobacco that has a little bit of sweetness right there, and that mixes in as early as 20 minutes. So for tobacco fans, 20 minutes into this fragrance comes that tobacco, guys. Okay, so you will definitely love that as well. I definitely loved the appearance of that dry tobacco right there. And then as the mid progresses, the sweetness gets really reinforced by the vanilla because, like I said, the first part is kind of like a semi-sweet. It's got its own little sweetness thing, but vanilla really reinforces the sweetness in the mid. As I would say, some of that clove goes away, that sweetness from the clove goes away, and as the honey itself kind of, you know, lessens a little bit on this mid, you are gonna get vanilla that will definitely reinforce the sweetness and keep it going towards the mid of this fragrance. And it is a very likable vanilla note, creamy and sweet. And I reckon that this mid is going to be the part that a lot of people will really like about this fragrance, especially the mainstream, okay? So if you're into mainstream scents, some people have compared this part to tobacco vanille. And so that's what I mean, guys, okay? Mostly the mainstream peeps will gravitate towards this mid of a nice, beautiful dry tobacco with vanilla. And of course, a little bit, some remnants of that honey still being there. But nevertheless, it feels like an enhancement. It does feel like a little bit of tobacco vanille with some honey. And again, for me, I like the first part because I'm into the differences, the things that make a fragrance different from the rest. I like the first part, but I reckon most people will like this tobacco vanilla mid. Now there's also a mild sesame note here to add another dimension into the mix. It's definitely something you can smell. And it's really interesting because, you know, sesame has been on these recent fragrances that I've been trying. And I really, you know, this is one of the first few times that I've encountered sesame in a fragrance. And so you can really smell a little bit of that sesame right here with that tobacco vanilla style mid, guys. But also, one of the things that make this fragrance interesting is that on paper it says that there is oud. Okay, so right here on the Drydown, the notes on paper are oud and sandalwood. And that is quite interesting, guys, especially for those that maybe you're a little bit apprehensive because of the oud. Now, the oud right here, guys, in tobacco honey, first and foremost, I'm gonna say, is going to be a bridge note. It is going to be a well blended in bridge note heading into the Drydown. So it's not really forever or long lasting or eternal, or it's not even a blanket on top of the Drydown notes. It is a transitional thing, and that's really what makes sense because you have tobacco and vanilla, these thick, sweet notes plus tobacco head into the Drydown. So oud is basically that warming dark oud wood, maybe semi-animalic, and the animalic touch is more of like a leathery animalic, and that does resemble in a way the first part where there is a little bit of that slightly animalic touch from the clove mix. Okay, guys, so the oud here, I wouldn't say is like crazy oud. It's a well blended bridge note into the Drydown. It does lend a slightly leathery dark oud wood here, guys, okay? But the thing is, the star of the show of the Drydown, and again, I reckon a lot of the mainstream peeps will love this, is gonna be sandalwood, okay? Sandalwood is the main star of the show of the Drydown. Now, the base notes of this fragrance, oud and sandalwood, they do come in at around the 6-hour mark. 6 hours, guys. So that is a huge 6-hour coverage of that beautiful artistic honey blend that I really like, kind of like Zoologist Bee in a sense, and also that tobacco vanilla mid, okay? That tobacco vanilla beautiful mid goes until the 6-hour mark. So it's really a huge coverage. And again, that oud is just gonna be a bridge note. Now again, right here in the Drydown, sandalwood is going to be the star of the show. And if you like the smell of sandal soap from India, that thing that I reviewed right there, it's gonna come in a huge amount, a prominent amount of sandalwood, and it is going to be accompanied by some sweetness, some remnants from that ambery honey mix with a little bit of that dark oud wood, but very, very minor, guys. I would say it's kind of like a sweet ambery honey minus the super animalic oud, plus a lot of sandalwood, a lot of beautiful sandalwood in the Drydown of this fragrance right here, and I loved it. And again, I think the mainstream will love it. Actually, not just the mainstream. I think niche people will love it. I think mainstream people will love it. It is a beautiful Drydown indeed. Ultimately, guys, I love this fragrance right here. Not only is it going to be mainstream lovable, but it's got some twists and turns for the niche lover as well. And for me, I do review fragrances day in, day out. I really see when some companies just simply rehash some formulations over and over and release it every single year, guys, okay? With this fragrance, yes, they did rehash a little bit of tobacco vanilla in there, but I would say the big rehash that was more important to me was that they did kind of rehash the honey side that Zoologist Bee had. And I haven't smelled that in a really, really long time since Zoologist Bee. So this one is a beautiful blend that will really accompany you for the fall winter season. This is cold weather only, obviously, and it is going to be a really unisex scent. It is very unisex, could be even masculine, because it does have woody, dry tobacco and some animalic mixes in there. So I would say that it can be for men as well. It's a great mood enhancer. It definitely made me feel cozy, and right now it is getting colder here in LA, guys, so this is just perfect. I feel great wearing this right now. And performance-wise, this fragrance is a thick, lingering, consistent scent. Okay, again, perfect for the fall winter season. Maybe it does have a minor scent trail because it's thick, it's got honey, it's got tobacco, it's got oud wood, and so it's definitely a thick, consistent, lingering scent. And how long did this last? I could smell remnants of that honey and sandalwood past 12 hours, guys, probably 13 or 14 even. So I think that the thickness and the potency of this was made for the biting cold. And so if you do live in those areas where it's pretty cold or it's getting cold already, you might take a note of this fragrance right here. The only point of contention right here that I see is that some might not like the honey blend. That's really it. Because for me, I got a little bit of that training from Zoologist Bee. I got used to that beeswax smell with that ginger that Zoologist Bee had. Maybe for a lot of y'all that have never tried that, and maybe you don't associate honey with this type of honey smell, this type of honey blend, I tell you, you must try it first then. You know, you must try it first, because that might be, the honey blend might be the part that some people might not like. But for me, as a niche lover, I do love that honey blend. Plus, the rest is pretty much mainstream. So if you're 50-50 about honey, I would say get a sample from G. I'm sure he can sell you one and try it first, guys. But for tobacco, vanilla lovers, sandalwood lovers, you're gonna get a huge dose fix right here in this fragrance right here. And also because of this aforementioned intro, this fragrance may or may not get you compliments, okay? Because this is very artistic. It's got a mix of blends and nuances. And yes, there is tobacco vanilla, but that honey, like I said, I don't know if it necessarily translates into compliments. I got compliments here and there right here, but for me, it was more for my own sake. Like, I really didn't give a damn about, you know, other people complimenting me about this fragrance. It was about feeling warm and cozy in the cold, and I would say that this fragrance did it 100%, and I'm a big fan of that honey blend. But let me just say this, that it could be one of those fragrances where you're wondering why no one has complimented you, because it's a very interesting artistic blend that maybe other people won't understand. Ultimately though, for me, this is a full bottle worthy fragrance, especially for the fall winter season. Okay, 350, or I don't know, I think G has a discount, 200 something. Last time I saw he had a discount, 200 something, 100 something off of the original retail price. And I'm gonna say it is worth it, guys. If you love it, I think you should have it. It would be a standby every single time that it gets cold, or if it's the fall winter season, or maybe even the cooler nights of summer. I think that this could be a great standby scent. Very, very beautiful for this season, full bottle worthy. $300 would be worth it, but I'm sure G will give you a deal, guys. Okay, so that is it. That is my review on Guerlain's Tobacco Honey. What a beautiful fragrance right here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance. If you have tried this, does that really match up with what I said? Or did you guys not really like that honey blend? Let me know in the comments below, guys. There are no right or wrong answers. And again, we are headed towards 18,000 subscribers. So please support the channel by liking and subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next video. Most likely, it's gonna be 1 million golden oud. So stand by for that, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. God bless, take care. Peace.